all of human civilization was taken hostage by a schizoid psychology and mountebanks ranging from RFK to the Governors Conference of America, Putin, Dugin, the Ayatollahs, they've been held in a trance about it. The murder of my father and the way I was attacked and tortured, the very grueling, bitter, Gaza-like horror that I have been put through, comes from the same mind as the people who bombed the USS Liberty, as the people who are bombing Gaza right now, who put together this schizoid psychology contraption. It's a reflex test by the new Hitler, Nosferatu. He taps you on the knee and says, "Ooh, boo," push you on the shoulder. Ooh, boo. And hordes of maniacs come flocking to his call. Who pushed who? Who pushed who? It's a reflex incident. If you touch somebody, it's rape. And flocked to Netanya whose call by the schizoid man logic of the criminally insane. Now, the rabbit in the royal it's pathetic. I know something about the context of Princess Diana's demise. I do know something about the context. And the relay system that was set up to communicate organized intent was a war game over Midori Goto's virginity. And the people claiming that they had a demand on Midori Goto needed something to barter. So they set up Princess Diana. And then said that the queer bait did it. And although it has traction, it's not substantial. It's absurd. But the absurdity won. I mean, they murdered and raped and tortured, and they're committing genocide. And this schizoid man apparatus that thought the whole thing up, made up the story. The blinking is rape, the rapid eye movement from a neuro implant is rape. I mean, it's absurd. It doesn't have anything to do with any kind of reality whatsoever. Bush called it a line in the sand. Robert Fripp made up this cock and bull story that virginity proves rape. It's a cock and bull story. It's absurd. But what they did was they exterminated a bunch of us and said that we need to order our lives around virginity, that you may date and marry and have children by one woman, and that's the end of that. And they'll kill anybody who tries to buck the system or is unauthorized. They've held me in Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Heart isolation for 35 years. It's all they're doing. It has nothing whatsoever to do with me. I mean, I lose the thread because they mauled me in such a way that I know how they think, know how they put together what they did. I mean, the schizoid man apparatus was in control of the Paris Olympics. Celine Dion had such a tantrum. She had cats jumping on trees, make pretending that I would have jumped on like a raging tiger on the spirits of vodka in Carmenel's magic transformation computer. And how life is trespass. The fact that you exist is rape. Nosferatu and Biden don't want you to exist. So therefore, your existence is a sin and it's evil. And you're to blame that Christians have been abused by crazy Muslims and Muslims have been abused by crazy Christians. And the Jew is superior. Make no mistake. I mean, this sort of thing goes on in their heads constantly, apparently. It's sort of like a Hollywood Gestapo that gets hold of them as children and brainwashes them to have neuroleptic tantrums over when they get triggered by someone who's different from them. And it's a price of poverty, lack of water, lack of moral education, lack of the 3 R's, the lack of integrity, the idea that somehow going beyond the reflex system into the realm of actual coercion is not wrong. I mean, that's why they always made such a joke of me, was because I knew the difference between consensual and coercion. I know the difference. My father taught me the word coercion. Said, the schools and public schools tend to aggravate things by being dependent on coercive tactics when they should be more engaging of student interests and so forth. I mean, that's one of the reasons why people considered my father a hero. What are they doing killing him? What are they doing killing my father? And the stupid people in Britain couldn't say, what are they doing killing your father? They had to set up Pussy Ball and blame me for things I didn't know anything about and get Diana killed and then point the finger at me. They're like, John Lennon was the last nail in the coffin of the 60s. The first nail was JFK. So that means they get to kill Cersei. See what a load of obscenity and absurd theater exists in that schizoid house where Celine Dion and, I mean, Hannah has to be protected from Roger Waters. I mean, somebody has to tell her the truth, which is that these people were sniveling and helping set the whole thing up. Now they want to be the doctors of redemption. There were people hiring girls to get pregnant, masquerade undercover and get pregnant so that they could. I always told the girls who slept with me, if you want to have a child, I will help you. It's on the Revolution #9 tape that Yoko Crowhag Reguster and Toon Mao made with James Child of Bowling Green. You can hear me say, if you want to, I will help. But these murderers, I mean, these saints of rescue, these Michael Johnsons, we're not going to have that because they need to they need to apply successive degradations of the X motive to the walrus. And Peter Gabriel, who doesn't even tell me he's copying an attitude with Paul McCartney. I've said this before, but it's fair to remind you that the only thing I was doing was sharing my poetry with a couple of bigwigs. I didn't think anything more of it than that. That's all. I mean, the rabid Brecker was around and made off with one of the postcards. I wasn't being a fiend about anything. My door was open. I was just trying to figure out what the hell was happening. I couldn't even remember what had been done to me as a child. And they burst the neuroplasm with the blinky rep REM, the penis Gabriel Foucault pendulum that Daniel Boorstin and Louis Lapham dreamed up. The memory that was neuroplastically swedged. That's what one of the people from Artec who built Salk Labs in the India Parliament. It's this little thing you put on a wire, crunch it and squeeze it. That's what the British tried to do. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to swedge me into a persona that I can't escape. When the swedge broke, which is next to impossible to burst a swedge, what was that? A freezing cold day when I was wandering the streets trying to keep away from a car thief ring who were kidnapping me. And Blinken's, Biden's Obama's we call dibs on the symbol of life. We queer ball is a white hole. White. I mean, that's what they were really doing. That's what they were really doing. And then they try to blame me. It's ridiculous. And Thoros unveils this crimson thing that he calls his official portrait. It's absurd. That's from drinking all that coffee they're killing me with. I need a doctor. God help me.